What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Jacked Ramsays here live Wednesday afternoon. We are now at 4:53, 7 minutes before the scheduled start of the 2025 NBA Draft. Yes, I'm wearing my Alabama Jones hat from yesterday's golf course. I should say the 1080 The Fan 11th Annual Fan Golf Classic. And I'm wearing it because it's how I feel right now. I'm quite hungover. Yesterday was a ton of fun. But after getting 3 hours of sleep and then being on the golf course for 13 and a half hours where there was a lot to drink and there was a lot of sun and a lot of fun, I'm still in recovery mode. But enough about all of that. Thank you all for being here. It's just going to be me solo dolo until the Blazers pick, until the Blazers trade, until whatever action happens. We will be going until I get kind of an all-clear sign. And then I will be packing up and heading over to the Trailblazers practice facility where we will anticipate a press conference from General Manager Joe Cronin following tonight's activity. So, Blazers haven't done anything recently anyways, right? Nothing really to talk about. I did write it up, free and unlocked, the Patreon. The intel that I had after the Portland Trailblazers traded Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks to the Boston Celtics for Jrue Holiday. They are indeed keeping Jrue Holiday for the time being. My understanding, again, we'll do this the proper way. League sources tell me Portland Trailblazers are indeed keeping Jrue Holiday, and they view him as an overall talent upgrade. His demeanor, his mentality, his tone setting, all of those things are the things that they really value. And I don't think I've seen some people like, oh, that's going to be such a great mentor to Scoot. I don't think that's why they brought Jrue Holiday in. Now, that might be a byproduct of that, but I think they brought Jrue Holiday in because he fits what they want to be, the ethos of what they are, more than, oh, here's the guy that's going to help Master Splinter Scoot Henderson along, or Shaedon Sharpe. Now, will he be a mentor? Will he be a leader? Absolutely. In fact, I believe that they've been missing that since they traded away Damian Lillard. When you walk into the locker room next season and Jrue Holiday's on this team, I will be stunned if, number one, he doesn't have the corner locker. And if, number two, everybody doesn't look at that guy and go, that's the guy. It doesn't mean he's the best player, but that's the guy they're looking to. He's a 2-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champion with 2 different franchises, 6 times All-Defensive Team member, 3 times Twyman Stokes Teammate of the Year. Jrue Holiday is a dude of dudes. And I said this on the radio earlier today. If you don't like Jrue Holiday, it says more about you than it does about Jrue. Jrue is incredibly well respected, not only as a basketball player, but as a human being and as a person. And that last part of it is something the Trailblazers have really tried to prioritize with the guys that they brought in, who they are as people, up and down the roster, like how they value them as people. Everybody's always asking, is Jrue going to come off the bench? I would be stunned if the Trailblazers did not start Jrue Holiday. It would shock the living hell out of me, to be bluntly honest. But that's where we sit right now. I think you could see a possibility where Jrue and Scoot start at the 1 and 2, because I think Drew's big enough and more than capable enough to play the 2. There's a world where Shaedon comes out of camp and he puts it all together, and you start Jrue and Shaedon. I don't think you're starting Scoot and Shaedon going into next season. I don't think you make this trade for that guy to do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but right now, today, I would be stunned if looking at Jrue Holiday, who he is, what he's been, what they think he is, and how they value him. And if you missed it, also on the Patreon just a few days ago, I wrote over 4,000 words about the Blazers potentially leaning into Denny Avdia as their offensive engine next year. And if I look at Jrue Holiday, the guy that spent the last couple of years playing off ball of Giannis and Chris Middleton and the Jays in Boston, that seems very reminiscent of what they expect Drew's role to be. So that's the big news, obviously, that trade, that transaction. On the intel side of things, somebody's already asking, Blazers didn't work out Carter Bryant, correct? That's what Connor asks. If you are a Patreon subscriber, you now know that the Portland Trailblazers did indeed work out Carter Bryant, because I have Carter Bryant as a confirmed workout participant for the Portland Trailblazers during the process. In total, let me pull this up real quick. I believe the final count for workout participants was 50 players. And all of those are listed there. Excuse me. I'm going to be doing this a lot. I have to plug my phone in because the battery life is draining incredibly fast. The texts are kind of popping off. Okay, there we go. But Carter Bryant did work out. The lottery prospects that did work out for the Portland Trailblazers are guys that could go as early as the is in the lottery. Carter Bryant, Kasparas Jakubowicz, Colin Murray-Boyles, Derek Queen, Yegor Demon. Liam McNeely, Asa Newell, Will Riley round out the rest of that group. And if you're talking about first-round prospects as it pertains to an average draft position, Asa Newell, Will Riley, Rasheer Fleming, Jace Richardson, and Noah Penda. They also worked out some early mid-second round prospects in Hanson Yang, Dink Pate, and some late-second guys in Lachlan Olbrich and Alex Toohey. Both played in Australia last year. So they brought a lot of other guys in. A lot of the guys that they brought in to work in the private workouts are guys that are, and if you have access to the sheet as a Patreon member, if you look in there, while they are marked as undrafted, there's a lot of top 100 prospects that they brought in that were older that worked out in these groups. And those are guys that you're probably looking at some version of either two-way deals or look at guys for Summer League or as a part of the Rip City Remix. Which, again, shout out Jonah, now the head coach of the Remix. And Eli for heading over there from the Blazers coaching staff over the Remix. Jonah being the head coach, Eli being the assistant. Great dudes, and I think they're going to do an awesome job with the Remix. I'm really, really interested to see what they do this year on that side of things. Everybody who keeps putting in here that the Blazers are going to use a first-round pick to get off Jeremy Grant, I would be absolutely stunned if they did that. I don't think there's a world that exists where they're going to use draft capital to get off Jeremy Grant. There, period. I will say, as it pertains to the NBA at large, I've said this over the last couple weeks, we've gotten louder and louder and louder. I said this on the radio today. In 15 years of doing it, this is the loudest I've ever heard it by a lot. How many of those machinations come out and actually end up turning into transactions? Probably less. But there are some big ones out there. There are legitimate offers that are being made to the Celtics for Jaylen Brown from multiple teams. There are currently, I believe, 3 or 4 teams fighting to trade up to number 4 for basically the right to take Conca-Nipple. There are discussions in Philadelphia about what exactly they're going to do up to this final stretch. I think it picks 3 through 8, depending on how things go and what process things kind of go down. You're going to see teams waiting until basically the last second on the clock, because there's going to be transaction after transaction after transaction. It's just a domino effect, and I think teams are starting to line things up. So you have contingencies of going one way or another. Everybody asked me who I like in this draft and all those kind of things. Mentioned on the radio, but I'll do it again here. Kasparas Jakubowicz, Carter Bryant, those are 2 guys that I really like. I think the next guy down that list for me is Yegor Demon. I do like Yegor. I do have reservations, but how he looks at the game, how he looks at himself, I would highly encourage, if you're interested in Yegor Demon, whether the Blazers draft him or not. Kyle Mann of The Ringer had him on for about a half hour on his podcast, and he has been just listening to him talk. I'm like, same thing with Conca-Nipple. He was on with Bill Simmons last week. Guys that have a level of understanding and self-awareness and are just basketball dudes to their core. It's very easy to talk yourself into some stuff when you hear them talk and how they think and how they think of themselves and how they look at the league and their understanding of basketball at the next level. Everybody's going with Indiana Marang. It's Alabama Jones, man. It's the Nick Saban hat. For those that are wondering, this hat is literally from Mexico in 2019 when my wife and I got engaged, and I had no other reason to wear it except for the golf tournament yesterday. And considering I still feel like I'm at the golf tournament yesterday, number 1, because this is one of my favorite days of the year in the sports calendar, but number 2, because I am in brutal physical shape right now. Brutal shape. So bear with me as we get through this. Looks like we're finally going to get underway here. And oh my God, the shock, the awe, Cooper Flagg is going to go first. If you guys didn't see it, Cooper Flagg joined the rare air of, at the Vegas books, popping as high as minus 100,000 odds. Same odds that Victor Wembanyama had. It is so few far between that guys are just this certain of yeah, that's him. That's the air that they have fallen into. So, guys in the chat, do me a favor. Don't be the spoiler there. Let me be the spoiler if a transaction comes across on Twitter. That way, there's a little bit of a delay with stuff. And people who want to just kind of let it go naturally in that vein, it lines up. That way it doesn't come flying through. Yeah. And here comes the commissioner who thinks ESPN does a great job with the basketball product. Unbelievable. I've seen quite a few fake trades that have been going out in the Blazers world there today, and boy, folks are creative. Somebody saying in the chat that Shams is awfully quiet. I would imagine that the league and ESPN are asking him to be quiet to build the anticipation. Now, I know the NBA has asked in the past that ESPN not break picks, and Woj uses his leverage multiple times to be like, yeah, so watch this when he was at Yahoo. So we'll see if we get any of that. But I will say, behind the scenes, the intel that I have as of now, multiple teams are after Colin Knippel. Ace Bailey is a dark horse to go to Utah. Austin Ainge, Danny Ainge's son, is now in charge there. I've heard a handful of players that are up for grabs for them. They are one of the teams that is rumored to possibly move up for Con. Trying to think. Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, Trey Johnson might be guys that end up falling if they don't go by 7. And that's going to be one of the more interesting storylines to follow. Who's the guy that kind of lines things up and makes things make sense for a team? Who's the wild card in all of this, basically? Somebody in the chat asks, does Sabonis make more sense with Giroux? No, the only guy that makes sense with Sabonis is Chet Holmgren, Evan Mobley, healthy Kristaps Porzingis. Guys that are really tall, really mobile, that can do things, including rim protection and be incredibly switchable. I like Sabonis as a player. I really do. But his rim protection defense is so limited, and it like how you pigeonhole your build around Sabonis is just so limiting. And I think guys like Sabonis, and they aren't the same level of player, but whether contractually or how they play can be limiting in how you go about things. Paul George has got maybe the second worst contract in the league behind Bradley Beal. Sabonis' guy has a lot of money who it's hard to build around. Michael Porter Jr. is in that list. Zach LaVine is in that list. There's a lot of guys where it's like they're good players, but either they're paid too much based on the current world of the CBA, and or the fit and the things around them are difficult as it pertains to team building structures, as it were, if that makes sense. I do love one thing here. The smoke screens that have been coming out from teams. 5 different players, I was told, over the last week that the Brooklyn Nets made promises to. Number 1, the Nets historically under Sean Marks have not made promises. Number 2, they now own 5 first-round picks, and for them to make that many promises with the likelihood of them shifting all over this draft is pretty unbelievable. But I've heard them linked to Yegor. I've heard them linked to Trey Johnson. I have heard them linked to Kasparas Aksionis. I've heard them linked to Kaman Malawach. I think the Nets are going to factor a lot in this draft and how things move around. There's a lot of stuff in here that is, I'm very interested to see how much of, and again, you guys don't see this because you're not in all of this. I am very interested to see just how much of the smoke, or how much of this is smoke, or was smoke, and how much of this actually ends up coming to fruition, or, what plans fall into place and what plans completely fall apart. I think it's going to be very, 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 very interesting when we get done with the night to kind of see where everything ends up. Oh yeah. Hey, I'm trying to do a show here. You want to come? You want to come here? Come here. No, come here. Come here. You haven't been on camera in a long time. Come here. There's Dallas. Wife's not home right now, so the door is open, so the pups might be coming in and out. And now Tanner is taking up the barking because there's nobody out there to keep him quiet. So excuse me, I mute my mic and yell at my dog. All right. Dallas always wants to be on camera. Tanner's a little bit shy. So, yes, everybody says, puppy. Yeah, say hi, baby. Yeah. You just want to hang out up here? You going to be good if I keep you up here? You going to be good up here? Yeah? All right. You can hang out. She always likes to see what's going on up here. She's like, oh, I don't get up here very often. Well, that's not true. If I'm working, she tries to get in my lap pretty much all the time. So, finally, co-host as loud as Danny. Yeah. Yeah, her bark, I love my little baby to death. Her bark is one of the most shrill, rattle your teeth, yips you've ever heard. Add the dogs into the logo. That's not a bad idea. I'll do the Alabama Jones hat and then Tanner and Dallas into the logo. I do need I do need to update the logo, that's for sure. Rufio, next time don't mute. We want to hear you talk to Rust and Dusty during breaks. Yeah, look, the things that get said during breaks or where the mics are on mute is not allowed by the FCC. More often than not, we are saying terrible, terrible, horrible, foul things to Jeff Russ in the middle of his update to see if we can get him to break. Because we're evil people and we like to have fun. All right, if I put you down, you can be good? Yeah? Kiss? Oh, now you're going to be nervous? You're going to be shy? Hey. All right, I'll put you down. You be good? All right. Go on. No, Dallas is not scrambling to watch scouting report videos right now because Dallas sits in here in her little bed right next to me and watches them with me. Tanner tends to fall asleep. But Dallas will sit here and look up at the screen just with her big little puppy eyes. Oh, hey, look, the pick is in. Oh, hey, look, it's Cooper Flagg. It is insane to me that Cooper Flagg is 18 years old. It's insane to me. He's the youngest player in this draft. And he has so much potential that for those who are wondering, it's not the Mavs that are milking this. The pick is in. This happens in the NFL draft too, just not as much as in the NFL draft. It's part of the programming. So, they kind of have this all slotted out. Oh my God, it's Cooper Flagg, number 1 overall. The Dallas Mavericks, obviously, with the number 1 overall pick and falling face first into it, have the opportunity here to rebuild with a superstar again. I don't like to dole out praise at this level ever, really, with the exception of guys who I believe to be generational. Victor Wembanyama was one of those guys. Cooper Flagg is one of those guys. Anthony Davis is one of those guys. If Cooper is not an all-star caliber player, it will be the evaluation that I probably got the most wrong, and that includes Jason Tatum, who I did not like at all. Yeah, that's probably my biggest miss I've ever had. I did not believe in Tatum, but the Mavericks only worked out Cooper Flagg. And I think a big part of that had to do with after the betrayal of Luka Doncic and that fan base and that city, they wanted to show to Cooper and his camp that we are not even looking at anybody else. It is you and you alone, and that is how we are going to go down this path. I mean, yeah. Yeah, you got a lot of work to do because I don't think anybody in the NBA trusts the Dallas Mavericks, particularly Nico Harrison. And Cooper Flagg is going to go to the Dallas Mavericks and get paired with Anthony Davis and Derek Lively and form a monstrous defensive front court. They do not have a ball handler they can trust right now, and they've only got 5.4 or 5.7 million to go get a ball handler. It's going to be one of the D'Angelo Russell, Malik Monk, Malik Beasley types that is going to be a stopgap. And with that, I almost wonder if Jason Kidd and his staff do what John Shire did with Cooper at Duke. God, sorry, my momentary brain fart. In that John Shire took some early lumps, and so did Duke, as Cooper made some early mistakes at Duke. If you remember the Kentucky game where he had some costly turnovers at the end of the game and just kind of struggled with some stuff while still putting up insane box scores, but there was just microscope on the little things that he got wrong. Well, he got them right all the way through the rest of the year after taking lumps for a month and was the best player in college basketball by a lot. There was this push for Janai Broom, and it was like, no, Cooper Flagg is him. Timothy Jones. It is what it is. But do they turn the offense over to Cooper kind of early and say, take your lumps, run the offense? Like, this is kind of what the Celtics did with Tatum, but they did it later. It was 2 years after he's drafted. They started kind of giving him more on ball and let him kind of develop that way. Why not do it with Cooper right out of the gate? Test what he can be truly out of the gate. I think he's up for the challenge. All the stories and all the talk I've ever heard about Cooper Flagg, it does not matter. It reminds me of Aaron Rodgers. So I've mentioned this before. I grew up with Aaron. To me, he's the single best athlete I've ever spent time around. Like, I am convinced that had he stayed playing baseball, he would have been a professional pitcher in Major League Baseball. It didn't matter what he competed in. He was the best at it. I mean everything. He was a straight-A student, really good at chess. There was all the training camp stories when he was young with the Packers about kicking everybody's ass in shuffleboard. He was a hell of a basketball player. But competitive to a level that I'd never, ever, ever seen, particularly that young, and then throughout his life. Cooper Flagg is like that. Everything that he does, every single thing. I spent a week with him at Hoop Summit last year, and watching him during practice, it's always up. There's no, well, hey, I need you to turn it up. He's the kind of guy you like, no, we got to back him down. It's a the whoa horse versus giddy horse. This is a whoa. You don't ever have to tell him to giddy up. You aren't going to see that. No. So why not test it? See what he's going to be. That's the way I look at this. And with Cooper Flagg in the holster for the Dallas Mavericks, the pick is in for the San Antonio Spurs, and Dylan Harper is going to be the guy. I saw Dylan last year also at Hoop Summit, as well as Ace Bailey and Kaspar Jonas, who we'll talk about. So a lot of these guys at Hoop Summit, yeah, they do a pretty good job of identifying these guys pretty early. Dylan was a guy that I had seen a little bit before Hoop Summit. I'd seen more of Cooper, more of the tape on him because he was popping off. Dylan struck me as a pro right out of the gate. It's like, oh, okay, I see it. And his game does not jump off the tape at you because he's not this crazy above-the-rim athlete. And while that's fun, the above-the-rim guys tend to just not be as good. Now, VJ Edgecombe is one of those guys, but he also has game to go with it. Sometimes it's great to also have that, but if you can play without it, it bodes well for your career. The thing I love about Dylan Harper, number one, he's the son of a former NBA pro. He knows how to be a pro. He knows how to prepare. Great court vision, pick and roll manipulator, incredible hands, incredible footwork. His ability to get where he wants to go slow down, decelerate, accelerate, change of pace in the paint, not just straight line driving. His ability to just get guys off balance is incredible. And there we go, officially. Dylan Harper, taken second overall by the San Antonio Spurs. It is a big, big deal for the San Antonio Spurs to get almost generationally lucky yet again, as they now have Dylan Harper alongside Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, Steph Castle, Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, all their draft capital. And it's going to be really, really, really interesting to see who San Antonio keeps. Yeah, 2 for 2. Yeah. I should have parlayed those top 2 picks together and maybe gotten minus 40,000 odds on that. It's going to be interesting to see who they keep between Dylan, Fox, Vassell, Castle. Because you can't keep them all. I mean, you can, because you got, 2 of them on rookie scale contracts, but it is what it is. Somebody's asking who was the best athlete I've ever known growing up. It was Aaron Rodgers. So, Aaron spent time out in Beaverton, went to elementary and middle school with him at Vos and Whitford out there in B-Town, as it were. Before, I think I've told this before. What's funny is Aaron's parents wouldn't let him play football when he was younger. We always tried to get him out for the Pop Warner team, but said his parents wouldn't let him. So there you go. Worked out pretty well for him in the long run. This is where things get interesting. Pick number 3. Does Philadelphia use it? Do they use it on VJ Edgecombe? Do they take Knipple from Duke? Do they say, screw it, we're still going to take Ace Bailey? Or do they trade it? This will be pretty telling which way the 76ers are at least looking to go by this pick. Would Aaron remember me? Yes. I still talk to him occasionally. Refreshing Twitter constantly. Yeah, but every time my phone buzzes, I have to check and see if it's a tweet or a text. So it's like, yeah. Actually, I should just do this so it's right in front of me. Yeah. There we go. Now I got it right in front of me, and I won't miss it. So, yeah, this is gonna be. This next pick is super, 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 super interesting to see which way they go. Because the safe play here is obviously VJ Edgecombe. But they could trade the pick. They could move out of this. They could package it up to move something around. There's been a lot of discussion around that. After that, and Charlotte gets on the clock. Whoo, buddy. Teams are trying to push up to grab Knipple. Teams are jockeying around Kaman Malawach, and everyone from Charlotte, Utah, Brooklyn, New Orleans. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody right now. Who am I forgetting? Sorry, my brain is not working right now as I slide through this. Washington. Thank you. For the love of God. Are all teams that I have heard that are very much looking to move around. Toronto, I've heard a little bit. Phoenix, I've heard a little bit. Weirdly enough, there was some intel the other day that Phoenix was trying to move up, and the thought process was Ace Bailey, which, screw it, I guess, grab every freaking 2-guard on the planet. Do you want to call him a 2-3? Fine, whatever. But that's not where I see them kind of going with things. There was talk of Jalen Green potentially being moved as part of something to move up, them including 10 and some other draft capital to move up. Shane says 76ers office front office milking that clock. I think that this is going to be one of those things that does it. The clock is going to expire, not expire and they don't pick, but they're gonna run this thing down. They've got a pick down on the table. And with 10 seconds to go, they send it in. But they're working the phones. That's at least how I see it. So maybe just making an impression here. And move my nicotine around. Sorry, I'm barely functioning today, and I need something to pick me up a little bit. Oh man! But this is where the fun begins. There are a lot of teams that are trying to accomplish a lot of goals right now. Do I think it's KJ or Bryant? Let's check in after pick 10. If a team does not make a pick, like no BS, doesn't make a pick in time, you do get bypassed. I think it happened in the NFL a couple years ago. If I'm not mistaken. It might have been longer than that ago, to be honest. But I swear I remember Minnesota or Chicago not figuring it out. But it is going to be VJ Edgecombe to the Philadelphia 76ers. Greg, with Vikings about 10 years ago. Okay, I've said this over the last couple of years. Anything in the last 10 years, for the most part, was because of COVID. My ability to go from like 2015 to 2022, anything in that range, I could be anywhere in between there. Oh, Grant says it was 2003 in the Vikings. I think there's another one besides that was more recent. But it has happened in the NFL a couple times. In the NBA, I don't think it's ever happened. I shouldn't say ever. I should say in the last 15 years of me covering it. So, but yeah. Mo asks, I know it seems trivial, but is Noah Senge in Brooklyn left his team to be in the green room? Yeah. Look, some people might look at that one way or another. I almost said the wrong way because I don't know if there's necessarily a wrong or right way to view it. You only get drafted once, and as much as Noah Senge is a part of Ratio Farm Ulm, you only get drafted once. And this is the opportunity to have the chance of a lifetime, to be in the building, to hear your name called by the commissioner, to put the hat on, to take all the pictures, and I get it. This is like it's a bigger day than a win in the finals of the BBL. And yes, I took my opportunity to shout out the Bundesliga, the BBL. Go ahead, make your jokes, have fun. I'll be back. I'll hear. That's how it goes. Now we get interesting. This is the spark point for the draft. Aiden put his PS5 controller down for this one. DA's got love for VJ. He does. I talked to DA about VJ after playing with him this summer, or past summer, I should say, with the Bahamas national team, and nothing but glowing praise from DA about VJ. I spent a week with VJ at Hoop Summit. I should say not this one that just happened more than a year ago. And Marshall Cho, the head coach from the World team, shout out Coach Cho, great dude, and I hope he continues on at Hoop Summit and working with those kids because VJ at the podium with Coach Cho, the emotional maturity that VJ showed, his intensity, his effort, how much he cares, who he is as a human. VJ's a guy that I'm going to bet on. I'm just going to bet on VJ Edgecombe being good. I think the most common conception is, comparison is the Victor Oladipo comp, and I do think that's very apt. VJ's probably a more explosive athlete. Depot was probably a little stockier, a little stronger. better ball handler at this point. But if VJ ends up becoming Oladipo without the injuries, ding, 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 ding. It's a hell of a player. It's a really good player. And we get so caught up in, well, this guy's not an all-star, this guy's not all-NBA, so he sucks, he's trash. Don't do that. Don't. Like, we were talking on the radio today about Scoot's outcome, like if he was a 18.7 assist guy, and he was like Eric Bledsoe. Like, Eric Bledsoe was a really good player. Let me pull his numbers up here real quick. So, Eric Bledsoe was the 18th pick in the 2010 NBA draft. And at his peak, he was a 21.5 rebound, 6 assist point guard who was a plus defender. His probable best season, he was a 20.4 rebound, 6 assists, 2 steal, 45, 37, 80 shooter. If Scoot Henderson turns into that, that's a really fucking good player. Like, the whole, like, if you're not a superstar, you're like, the guys that have had 20.6 assists, 4 rebound seasons in the NBA, when you look at the entirety of the league, you're in the upper echelon, man. So if VJ turns into that Oladipo, I want to pull up Vic's, like, one of his better seasons. Vic's best season, he was 23 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and he led the NBA with 2.4 steals a game, shooting 48, 37, 80. That's a really, really, really good player. Dominant perimeter defensive player on guards. Good shooter. Downhill rim pressure. Incredibly athletic. Tenacious. Pit bull. Like, if Depot's knee holds up, he's more than a 2-time All-Star. And that's the thing. He was a 2-time All-Star. But health. Health got him. Language terms don't work. Sorry. Got a little excited there. I get excited. I get worked up. Let's see what happens now. Because this is where it gets interesting. Okay. Sorry. I have to continue looking off and checking said phone. I see a lot of you guys are excited about Yegor. I do like him. I do. I actually probably believe more in his shooting than some people do. The rim finishing is probably something that I'm more at a guy at 6'9" having trouble with rim finishing, kind of like, I don't know if I like that. In fact, let me pull up his numbers here real quick. Yegor. All right, let's pull up his shot types and shot distances. At the rim, let's see. Yegor's points per possession rated in the 75th percentile. He shot 64% at the rim, which is pretty solid. But if you're 6'9", I want to see you in the upper echelon. I want to see you in the upper echelon. That's what I want to see. The pick is in, but who is it for? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, somebody said in the chat that Kevin O'Connor said the Wizards discussed swapping 4 and 6. Yes, there are multiple teams that have discussed with the Charlotte Hornets. The Wizards, the Jazz, the Nets are the teams that have discussed trading up to number 4. And it appeared it was going to come down to the last second, so either the offers weren't there that they wanted, or they're making this pick for somebody else and they've already made the trade that has yet to be announced, or they're making the pick and they like Con Knippel. I think those are the couple things that you're looking at right now. But as it pertains to back to Yegor, I liked him as a prospect. I talked to a lot of people about him early in the season. He had a bit of a push back down when league play started, and then bounced back really, I thought, really well in the NCAA tournament. When stuff was on the line, he was hooping. And I think that bodes well for him. His combine workout, individual workout performance, he shot the hell out of the ball with some minor changes to his mechanics. And again, I do think when I watch him shoot, I don't go, oh God, he can't shoot. So, pick is in. Adam Silver up at the desk right now. The Charlotte Hornets are going to select Con Knipple. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching, you know who you are. Told you. Top 5. Top 5. Con's a hooper. Shouldn't be shocked to anybody. Con has got a lot of teams like. 3-level scorer. Comfortable off catch and shoot, creating his own. Mid-range pull-ups. Good footwork. Strong dude. I really like Con. I really, really, really like Con. Come on. There we go. Looking at Con's play type data. Again, this is all percentage-y. He was in the 98th percentile in spot ups. He was in the 71st percentile, and these are points per possession. Again, 98th percentile in spot ups. Dude can shoot it. 71% off screen, 71st percentile off screen, 69th, nice, percentile in transition. 31st percentile in pick and roll ball handler. The volume in transition and pick and ball handler is 1 possession. I will say Con initiating as a pick and roll ball handler later in the season, particularly in the ACC tournament, I thought did him a lot of good. And I think that's where he's going to continue to work on his game, is being a secondary creator. I think the best comp that I like for Con is his ability to learn, be smart, be heady, and reminds me of white Desmond Bane. And that's a really good player. Some of the other numbers here on Con, only 13 possessions, 92nd percentile as a cutter, 45th percentile off handoff. So there's some things I think you can see him kind of finishing or really cleaning up and really taking off. As it pertains to his shooting data on the catch and shoot, he was in the 92nd percentile on catch and shoot, 1.29 points per possession, 43% field goal percentage, 64.5% effective field goal percentage. I'm trying to pull up his true shooting percentage, catch and shoot, 65%. His 3-point percentage, sorry, I have to keep scrolling. I believe it was 43. Yeah, 43.3 on catch and shoot. Shot 43% guarded, 44% unguarded. My man just shoots. The fit for Con here, Con's brothers all look like Con. Holy crap. Boy, that is there's no mistaking who's a part of that family. Also, it's cool with all the boys they're all there, and they all love they all love Big Bro. Mom and Dad, both former Hoopers in Wisconsin. Con Knipple, Tyler Harrow, Tyrese Halliburton. That's putting out some Hoopers, man. Con's fit in Charlotte's going to be very interesting. Last year they take Tijon Salon. They had Brandon Miller the year before that. They had LaMelo Ball. They had Miles Bridges. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how this all fits together. I really like Con and Miller long term. I am not a LaMelo Ball guy. I'm sure he's fun and he sells some shoes and some jerseys and some tickets, and that matters to owners. If I am the Charlotte Hornets, I am trying to get out of the LaMelo Ball business and build around whatever you get in that return, if it's, viable, and Brandon Miller. I think the way the NBA is going, I think both those guys are guys that are going to be more impactful going forward. I've heard the Hornets trying to get out of the LaMelo Ball sweepstakes LaMelo Ball business for 12 months, 18 months. It's been a while. Around the same amount of time that the Pelicans have kind of explored moving things around with Zion Williamson. So, and actually Zion's a little bit longer than that because they had discussions with the Trailblazers when they drafted Scoot Henderson. So, I'm interested to see that. Now, again, this gets interesting. Utah. Originally, Trey Johnson was thought to be the guy. Then it was Jeremiah Fears. And then today I heard dark horse contender for Ace Bailey. Here's the interesting thing. I mentioned this earlier. Austin Ainge, the son of Danny Ainge, is now running basketball operations. Danny is still there, but Ryan Smith is the ultimate decider as it pertains to the Jazz, but he has empowered those guys to do this, and let's see which way it goes. I don't think outside of Lowry and Walker, I should say Lowry, Market, and Walker Kessler, the Utah Jazz have any proclivities about drafting over somebody. Nor do I think with Austin coming in, are there any ties or allegiances to guys they've drafted recently? Whether that's Isaiah Collier or Kyle Filipowski or Cody Williams or anybody along those lines. It's going to be very interesting to see which way they go here. And it'll also be pretty telling what they think it's going to be as far as like their future. Ooh. The camera being panned to Ace and him looking around nervously right now makes me think that he might wonder. I don't know why that Trey Johnson graphic was just sitting up there. That was kind of weird. I guess they thought maybe they were going to pan to Trey Johnson, or they were panning to Trey Johnson because he's going to be the pick, because the pick is in. But again, I should say, the original intel a month ago was that there we go. The graphic was a little early. They panned in and panned out. Trey Johnson was the favorite, I should say, on the intel circuit to go to Utah. Trey Johnson can shoot the living hell out of the ball. I wonder about fit and how much more he has in his game. And there it is. It happened. The Jazz, the dark horse, take Ace Bailey. He does not fall beyond 5. The Utah Jazz, they do it. They said, screw it. We don't care where you're trying to control things to. We're taking him. Ooh, boy. There was talk earlier today that the Jazz were looking if they needed to move up or if they could stay where they were and do this. Okay. No trades yet. That's interesting. But they said, hey, this guy's, at X spot. We believe in the talent. And I want to clarify with Ace, quote unquote sliding. The intel on him has never been that he's a bad dude. That's not a thing. Ace is not a bad guy. Not at all. He's a very fun-loving, jovial, joking, lighthearted kid. Emphasis on kid. His maturity is in question. This isn't Gilbert Arenas at the draft combine being asked what he wants to be if he's not an NBA player, and him saying a pimp, and then when asked to clarify, an international pimp. All-time, I shouldn't say one-liner, two-liner from Gilbert. But he's just a kid. And in a draft class that features Cooper Flagg, who is maybe the most mature kid I've ever come across, not just in basketball, but in life, and Dylan Harper, the son of a pro who's been groomed and built for this, Ace stands out, and not in a good way. But he has an opportunity here to go to a Utah team for an organization that has an empowered owner, an empowered front office, a ton of assets, and all the space in the world to grow his game. Jacob asks, will he be okay with this? Or doesn't matter? Doesn't matter. The only guy in this draft who could be like, I'm not going there or force a hand that heavily is Cooper. And even then, he's so good, they say, good luck, dude. That's just the reality of it all. So, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they did it. Good for Utah. Jazz are going to keep him. All the belief was that Washington was going to be the team that got Ace. But here we go. Our first real. Oh, this is fun. This is spicy. It's gonna be interesting. Everybody asking for Shams to do something. It's not gonna be draft related because he works for ESPN. Now trades, he might do that, but he ain't touching the picks. He's pretty locked in for the amount of money he's getting paid, and I don't blame him one bit. So. Ace Bailey's basketball player. Let's pull up his. You know what? Let's just continue doing this for each player as in between. I'm going to pull up his Ace Bailey Rutgers Synergy profile. And shout out the guys at Synergy for always taking care of me and making sure I have all of the access in the world. I love you guys. Looking at his play type data. And again, the caveat and this is not a shot at Synergy, it is a clarification. Synergy data only captures events. So shots, turnovers, fouls, things of that nature. It is not an individual possession. Second Spectrum, now Genius IQ, tracks everything. Every action. So there's a differentiation between those two things. Ace's number one play type is isolation. Number 2 is spot up. Number 3 is transition. Number 4 is off screen. Number 5 is pick and roll ball handler. That's where it becomes interesting. Now, Ace was in the 99th percentile of usage in isolation in college basketball last year. He was in the 42nd percentile in points per possession. Now, context, Rutgers sucked. Outside of Dylan Harper, there's maybe one other guy on that team, and I always struggle to remember his name, a freshman big man who I was like, in a couple years, I could see him being pretty good. I could see him being a late draft pick in the NBA. Otherwise, it was watching Rutgers play Oregon and watching Dana Altman throw every defense in the book at Rutgers. It was mean. Dana was an absolute demon with what he did to Dylan and Ace. Dylan saw 2-1-2, half-court traps, 2 threes, 3 twos, box and ones, like stuff that you just don't see in college basketball that often, unless you're one of those weird teams like Syracuse or Washington where you're going to play a zone the entire game and you're going to switch up your zone when the offense starts to figure a few things out as rotationally and where to attack from. But Ace just had nowhere to go and his jumper wasn't falling. In talking to front office executives, scouts, evaluators of the sort, Ace is 6'7.5" and can get his shot off against a lot of guys. The problem is his handle, he can't unlock where he needs to get to consistently. And that's what leads to him settling a lot. Now, I was a big, and I still like him as a player, but in the Paolo, Chet, Jabari world, I was a huge Jabari Smith guy. Clearly, I got it wrong. But I think Jabari's handle then was as good or better than Ace's handle now. And I watched Jabari, and I was like, he's got to improve his handle, and if he can, he could be really special. that's the thing with Ace. Can he improve his handle? Can he be a bit of a playmaker? Or is he just a play ender? Doesn't mean he's going to be a bad player, but it does put a bit of a ceiling on what he can be. But there are a lot of people that believe in him. A lot of people who believe in the talent. Like there was talk coming out of Hoop Summit last year that, he could end up being number 1 overall pick. I didn't come away thinking that, but certainly other people did. When you look at the other data here for Ace, in the spot up, he ranked in the 57th percentile points per possession, 42nd percentile in transition, 66th percentile off screens, 41st percentile as a ball handler. And then in some limited possessions in post up and cuts in the 50th and 81st percentile. The cuts one is really interesting. Where, there we go. Trey Johnson is a Washington Wizard. Why is my data not working? Let's try this again. Trey. Come on. I don't know why it's not sorting for Trey Johnson for me. It's being very dumb. But Trey Johnson's shooting numbers are dumb. What is Trey's given name? Richard Earl Trey Johnson III. Richard. All right, let's go. Screw it. I'll just search by Texas. Texas. Longhorns. Overall, I should be able to pull up the cumulative box scores and then find Trey. There we go. There we go. We'll maneuver to find Trey somehow. Hey, calm down. Thank you. All right. Pull up the shot type data on Trey Johnson because it's fun. On catch and shoots, Trey Johnson was in the 84th percentile. Jump shots, he was in the 76th percentile. Let me pull up his true shooting percentage on jump shots, 52.3, catch and shoot, 61.3, unguarded, 63.1. And on threes, catch and shoot, 41%, guarded, 42%, unguarded, 39.6. Overall in the season, 39.7 from three. And if I get into shot distances, his almost 70% of his shots came from three. And he ranked in the 87th percentile. That is crazy. Despite being that good of a shooter, he didn't take a ton, 44, medium, like deep twos from 17 feet to the three-point range. Shot 32%, but he can shoot the three ball a lot. 224 threes he got up, shot 40%, which is good enough for 60% effective field goal percentage. It's tough. Appreciate you, Corbin. The hat goes hard. What can I say? No trades yet. This is interesting, to say the least. The order's been a little bit different here already, with Ace going 5, Trey going 6. Now New Orleans, who made the trade with the Indiana Pacers, giving the Pacers their 2026 first unprotected back, with now 2 firsts. They've got 7 and 23. They're not moving up because they're on the clock. Do they look at moving somewhere else? Or do they make a pick here? If they make the pick, If they make the pick. Oh, there we go. It, in my mind, will be one of Fears or Malawatch. That's where I'm wondering it's going to go. God, Duke having 2 top 4 picks. Duke and Rutgers, 2 of the first 5 picks. Or 4 of the first 5 picks. You know, they're the same level of powerhouse in basketball. Ace and his agent trying to maneuver him to possibly another situation, and then them being told, meh. Tough. Here's the thing with New Orleans on the clock right now. Because there's options. Do they trade back with Brooklyn? Do they trade back with Toronto? Do they trade back with Phoenix? All 3 teams have interest in Kama Malawatch. ESPN is reporting that the pick is in. I do not have any texts or anything of the like saying that there is a trade or if I should watch for anything. But let's see where it goes. Oh, my goodness. God, we've already been on air for over an hour. Again, shout out to you guys. I do appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for putting up with me all these years. This is always a fun process. And I'm glad that almost 700 of you in here across platforms. So, it's a fun day. I love this. My phone has gone mostly silent as the front offices have basically locked up shop. They are only talking basically to 2 people at this point, unless it's an agent talking to them that they're being notified. The New Orleans Pelicans and their selection. Jeremiah Fears, baby! Sorry, I have to reload my nicotine. I'm just going to burn through these things. It is what it is. Somebody said earlier, upper decker. Yeah. I start in the lower deck, then we move to the upper deck. It's one of my favorite podcasts here. It's one of my favorite ones to do. Because the golf tournament was yesterday and the radio station was going to be like, oh, we're going to be probably recovering. It was like, are we going to be able to do something on location somewhere? And I was like, I'd like to, but please don't. Please don't. And then the Blazers made the trade on Monday and I begged them, please don't do that. I got 3.5 hours of sleep before getting up at 4:30 in the morning and going to a golf tournament, sitting in the sun for 13.5 hours. And don't get me wrong, thank you for you're in here right now and you were out there yesterday. I appreciate you guys coming out. It is so much fun. So much fun. I love talking to all you guys hanging out there. I discovered a new drink called a transfusion. New for me because I'm usually just pretty much a straight tequila guy. Tequila, normally transfusion is vodka, ginger ale, grape juice, soda. I think that's the combo. I swapped out the vodka for tequila. I'd say the official count is 8 or 9 because I don't know what the official count ended up being, 8 or 9. And we had Angel's Envy whiskey on the same hole as us. And if you were out there, you saw this. You came up, you took a shot, and you went, hey, Danny, take a shot with us. Or, hey, Suk and Danny, whoever's on the hole, come take a shot with us. So I had 8 or 9 tequila transfusions, shots in the 20s, at least. And I was out there for 13 hours. I don't drink very often anymore. It is the one day a year that I do not drive to the event. I do not drive home. I get shuttled because I know just how insane that day is going to be for me and for the radio station and for us. It's so much fun. So there you go. All right, Brooklyn is on the clock, and Common Malawach is there. Dun, 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 dun. Does a team trade up? So ESPN so far has been wrong on 2. ESPN had the Jazz taking Fears at 5, Ace going to Washington at 6, Malawach going 7 to the Pelicans, and now the Nets are on the clock, who they had Trey Johnson, who has already gone. Oh, you love seeing the crying mom. Crying mom is great. I've seen some people say, they're happy or they're crying because they got so much money. It's like, no, man, you're seeing your kids' dreams come true, man. The money's nice, but the amount of hours and all of the tournaments and time in the driveway and shoes bought and it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. I'd love to be out and be in those shoes one day. That would be pretty cool. Oh, they're highlighting the best free throw shooting games last season for Jeremiah Fears at Oklahoma. Fears is interesting, man. Fears is tiny. Measured in 6'2.5", 179 pounds, 6'5" wingspan, so not real long. He's quick, man. And I think if you're the Jazz, that's probably why you're looking at Ace Bailey, is you looked at Jeremiah Fears and you go, we've got some smaller guards. Is it better for us to take Ace Bailey with Keontae George and Isaiah Collier, Cody Williams, Lowry Barkinen, Walker Kessler, John Collins? Like, what makes functional sense? So he said 20 shots and 9 drinks. The shots might be low. Okay, we had 18 holes, 2 rounds, and we had more than 18 teams in each group. So at minimum, it was going to be 36 different groups coming through. And I think we ended up with something in the 50s because there was A's and B's. Well, the Nets have submitted their pick, and hugs are all around, and Sean Marks is out of the camera because he's so damn tall in the war room for the Nets. I'm very interested to see which way they go here. Malawach is certainly a guy. Be very interesting if old Marks is texting. Marks is Sean Marks would be texting Bobby Marks, his old Nets compatriot. Just be like, hey, we're taking Common. I've heard they like Kasparis, and I've heard they like Yegor. So it's gonna be interesting to see if all of a sudden Malawach is on the board after this, or who is on the board after this. Does that cause the chain to pop? Okay. There we go. Sorry, I was reading through something there that didn't make a ton of sense, but it got deleted. But as far as it pertains to Jeremiah Fears, I like him. Obviously, he should not have gone back to college because he was just a top 7 pick. But I thought with some seasoning, he could really pop, but also Darren Peterson's in next year's class, and he's going to be a dude. Yegor Demin is the pick at 8. Woo, boy. Spicy. Spicy. If Prokhorov was still the owner, I'd be like, yeah, that's not a surprise. Jaeger was a guy that was viewed higher in the NBA internally with front offices than some mocks had him. Now Toronto's on the clock with Kaman Malawach. That's not surprising, but interesting. Ooh. Exploding my windows here. All right, let's talk about Yegor a little bit. Yegor Demin, 6'9" guard from Russia, Real Madrid. Played 1 year for BYU. I should get an A&W sponsorship. Yeah, I don't drink sodas all that often, but I do love the zero sugar root beer. I think I mentioned this before. I don't drink drinks with sugar in them. I just never, too sweet. Was in the 98th percentile in pick and roll volume this year. 192 possessions, finished in the 57th percentile in points per possession, 26th percentile in spot up, 30th percentile in transition, 44th percentile in handoffs, 56% in isolation, and 69th nice percentile in cuts. But the isolation, handoffs, and cuts are all in very limited opportunities. Mentioned it on the show today that BYU's coach Kevin Young said that Dylan Harper and Cooper Flagg were the only guys in this draft that he thought had more potential than anyone else in the draft. That's a belief that is certainly be held by Brooklyn. I mean, 6'9" playmaking. Hey, look at that. Kevin Calabro right there with PJ Carlissimo there in the arena. Look at that. Yegor getting to shake hands with KC. I wonder if he has any idea the legend that he just sat down with. So, players that are on the board. 3 picks before the Portland Trailblazers. Kasparas Giannakis, Carter Bryant, Noah Senge, all guys who have been linked to the Portland Trailblazers. As it pertains to ESPN's mock, Kaman Malawach is the only player in the top 8 that did not go in the top 8. Malawach mocked 7th to the Pelicans. Trey Johnson mocked 8th to the Nets. Fears mocked to the Jazz. Ace Bailey goes there. Now the Toronto Raptors are on the clock. What channel am I watching? ESPN. I shouldn't be ahead of you. I'm on YouTube TV. Streaming in here. So, well, there's like a 20-second delay, I think, between YouTube and when I'm talking and you guys. There is a delay. So, factor that in. Oof, Raptors. Do they go Asenge or do they go Malawach? If Malawach falls to 10 and Phoenix has an opportunity to get a big, oh boy. Common is sitting there a little uneasy right now. Pick's still not in with 20 seconds to go on the clock for the Raptors. Surprised Billis on Jay Billis is best available. He's got Sorber so high. I like Sorber. Had he not had the injury, I think he would have had a higher profile, even though Georgetown was cheeks this year. Yeesh. But Sorber's a big old boy. 6'10", 260. That's a truck of a human. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Oop. Couple of smoke screens already. Pick is in for Toronto. Which way is it gonna go? Dun 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 dun. Bertie, about Asenge leaving the team for the draft. I have no problem with him going to the draft. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Winning a championship for a German Bundesliga team. Not once in a lifetime. Raptors pick is in. At the table we have ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Colin Murray Boyles, not Asenge, not Malawach. Boy, I don't know how I like that fit. Whoo, buddy. Colin Murray Boyles is probably the best team defender in this draft outside of Cooper Flagg, in my opinion. But being able to actualize him is going to be interesting. Time for a Zyn replenish. Buddy, I already did. We're on, not to give them any branding, I use Ons. Zyn, I don't like the big Zyn pouches. When I chewed, I used to have a big old dip, but I like the smaller Ons. So there you go. All right, I'm going to pull up Colin Murray Boyle's shot type data at South Carolina last year. I'm going to pull up his shot chart data. In points per possession from three, he was in the 21st percentile. Only 13.8% of the time were his field goal attempts jumpers. %88 of his shots were at the rim, where he was a very good finisher. He's in the 81st percentile in points per possession. At the rim, he shot 67%. Sorry, I'm getting text right now. about how things are shaping up. It's very interesting. But Murray Boyles, 59% overall from the field. He can't shoot outside 5 feet. And defensively, I think he's very good. I don't like the Draymond comps because being like, oh, yeah, he's Draymond-ish. The idea that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer and one of the best defensive players of a generation is his profile is very good. I don't see that because while CMB is a positive playmaker, I don't think you can park him in the middle of the floor and have him make decisions for your team like Draymond Green could. Raptors did kind of get one of their types, though. Malawach falling to the Suns here has got to be perfect for them. So let's revisit the ESPN mock here real quick. Colin Murray Boyles was not expected to come off the board until pick 12 to the Chicago Bulls. This is our first post-top 10 guy that jumped into the top 10, although just barely, at pick number 9, which pushes Asenge, Common Malawach, Carter Bryant, Kasparas Yakashionis. I'm sorry, Yegor was mocked at 13. Here's the interesting question. If you're Houston, you need a center. But do you trade this pick to a team that maybe wants Malawach, where you can recoup some capital and go, I'd say Atlanta if they were looking at moving up, but they got Kristaps in the trade. That would be it would have been an interesting team if they move back to 13 and you take Thomas Sorber, go down that path. But you've got on the board right now Common Malawach, Carter Bryant, Kasparas Yakashionis, and then Johan Behringer, Derek Queen. Derek Queen is a guy, I haven't talked about him. Much. I like Queen as a player. I like CMB. I think where he goes is the proposed trade is the Kevin Durant trade. That's the trade with Phoenix that you're seeing on the TV. That's why it shows the Rockets picking in this proposed trade for Phoenix because Kevin Durant got traded and the deal's not going to be consummated until July 6th. But Queen is a guy much like Sabonis where plus rebounder, playmaking, feel, offensive juice. His rim protection and defense is atrocious. I'm out. I'm out. But Queen's a guy that when he didn't go 7-8, was going to probably slide. Now, he's not going to slide real far, but there is going to be a slide here. Thoughts on Cedric Coward? I like Coward. I do like him. The whole, like, well, he will land at college in Eastern Washington. Like, I don't care about that. I don't. It's fun, but there we go. First trade. Mark Williams is getting traded to the Phoenix Suns for the number 29 pick and a 2029 first-round pick. They just got 2 bigs. Asenge, Bryant, Yakashionis, all on the board. Well, Mark Williams is not a Los Angeles Laker. He is going to be a Phoenix Sun. Same conference, same division, different team. I'm on the clock. Brother, they ain't telling me anything right now. They're outside of an agent. Well, if they're talking to other people, I'll hear. But here we go. Let's see. Shams has got the least favorable of Cleveland, Utah, and Minnesota, top 5 protected. So it's a very meh pick. But the Suns just got big as hell. Everybody wondering if I froze? No, I'm just on the phone. That's funny. The Suns have Nick Richards and Mark Williams. They have the Hornets center rotation, and they had Nurk, who they swapped for. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, there's an interesting possibility here. With the Bulls right behind the Blazers, could they swap and go 12? And if you think Carter Bryant and Kasparas Yakashionis are on the same level and the Bulls want Kasparas, then you could get your guy at pick 12 if you have Carter and get your protections back off that pick and just call it a wash. Certainly an option. They could go Asenge. They could just go straight Carter. They could just go straight through for Kasparas. Or they could pull something completely out of their hat. A lot of different options. I love how so many people are saying Noah. Not a single one of you has ever seen him play a game. Because I know all of you weren't in the building for the preseason game against Roscoe Farm. And you're not out here crushing tape. I love the draft, man. I love it. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Two minutes on the clock. 2 minutes. This worked out about as well for the Blazers, I think, as it could have. You have multiple things you can do here. There it is. Cedric Coward, the Memphis Grizzlies are going to move up and trade with the Portland Trail Blazers. If you saw the mock the other day, I had Cedric Coward going to the Grizzlies at pick number 16. The Grizzlies are going to move up to 11 to take Cedric Coward out of Washington State. What is the tax? And Shams is breaking this because he's getting this news from the Grizzlies. Let's see what the Blazers are getting in return. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba! Ooh, baby. Come on, come on, come on. Who are they getting? Let's see. If you've been paying attention to the radio all week, not all week, for the last week, and in some reporting that I have done, I said it was about a coin toss chance that the Portland Trail Blazers were going to use the pick. Question is, did the Blazers get 16 and something? Like Jalen Wells, Santi Aldama, Gigi Jackson. Like, I'm just trying to figure out which way that they're going here. They got 16, a future first, and 2 seconds. All pick capital. So here's what's interesting. In talking to front office scouts, evaluators, when the Blazers got pick number 11, one of the things that everybody I talked to told me is that there are teams that are looking at players in their range, and if Portland was going to be looking at a guard wing type, there would be room for them to move back from anywhere from 12 to 16, because they would probably be able to get one of, if they got 3 guys, one of 3 guys at that spot. So it's a 2028 first-round pick from the Orlando Magic. that was acquired in the Desmond Bane trade that is going to the Blazers. One thing I've heard about the Blazers is that they wanted to improve their pick and draft equity to get them above kind of a threshold of if you were going to assign points to draft picks and then get them to a spot where they can make another move. And this is something they can do here. I think they can still get probably one of those three guys in Bryant, Kasparis, Asenge at 16. Now you're playing with fire because Kasparis is probably going 12, the Lithuanian national, going to Chicago to play with Matas Buzelis, who's Lithuanian, who's got a team in Arturas Karsanovas, who's Lithuanian. Woo, baby. I like it. Draft equity, and you probably get one of those guys. Now, if all three are gone, that's the risk you play with. But I'm sure they're betting on their research of being something there. I like it. You look at the board, you look at who's picking, you look at who's looking at what, and you've done all your research, you've done all your intel on other teams. Somebody said, I'm stoked if we get Fleming at 16. I don't think Rasheer is going that early. I like Rasheer. I also think his ceiling's a little more limited than some other guys in that spot. Chicago, the pick is in already. If this isn't Kasparis, man, I will be stunned. I will say, a mild reach. But if they took Nick Clifford at 16, your boy would be happy. Your boy would be happy. I love Nick Clifford. Let's see. Yeah. Do you guys need to go outside? Okay. Give me a second, guys. I will be back in 20 seconds. Well, no, less than that. I got to put the dogs out. Oh, we have another trade before I go. The Hawks are trading 13 to the Pelicans for the 23 and an unprotected 26 first-round pick, the most favorable of New Orleans and Milwaukee. So New Orleans sees somebody here, and they're like, we'll take that. At pick number 13, I'm sure they're probably looking at this being Kasparis. I'll be right back. Come on. Let's go. All right. Here's all the things. Dustin, I'm not a fan of gaming people. We're just saying that second round picks aren't worth it anymore. I don't think they are. I don't think that's. I don't think they have the value because those guys that you would take flyers on in that group, they're all going back to college. What I'm trying to confirm is whether or not that draft pick from Orlando is unprotected. I believe it is. Wow, the Bulls took Essengay. They didn't take Kasparis. Look at that. Oh, New Orleans was there we go. So Derek Queen is a guy that New Orleans looked at, and New Orleans is going to trade with the Hawks and take Derek Queen at 13. That was the spot that when he didn't go 7, you were going to see him slide. They circle back, and they are going to come back and grab Derek Queen at pick number 13. Ooh. Sham sees Jake Fisher breaking it before him, and now he's tweeting out picks ahead of time. He got the green light from ESPN, like, hey, man, I can't have Jake beating my ass out here. I need to be able to do my thing. So, Essengay and Queen, and we are up to pick 13, or excuse me, pick 14. Remember, the Blazers traded back to 16. Carter Bryant, Kasparis Giannakis, both still on the board. The team's picking at 14 and 15. San Antonio Spurs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Do they make picks? Do they trade out? Do teams behind them right now go, what about this? What about this? It's long been rumored that Johan Berenger, the big from overseas, from Cedevita, the best shot blocker in this draft is the guy that the Spurs like. They love their international guys. Interesting. I'm liking the way this draft is shaking out just for the league. There's stuff happening. Trades didn't happen early. They're happening now. And this is where you're just going to see slotting, I think, change around a ton. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. As it pertains to San Antonio and Oklahoma City, both were rumored to have very real interest in bigs. Very real interest in bigs. So, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, man. How you guys doing? We doing good? You know what? I haven't done one of these in a long, long time. Can I still do it? You know what? I'll do it. Boom. Poll up in the chat here on YouTube. Do you like the trade? Yes or no? It's that simple. Vote and vote away to your heart's content. We'll revisit that here in a little bit. All right, let's revisit ESPN's mock here real quick. We are at pick 13, but it is expected to be Derek Queen. Derek Queen was expected to go 15th to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Cedric Coward was expected to go 16th to the Memphis Grizzlies. He does go to the Grizzlies, but it is pick 11. And I wonder if they thought maybe OKC is looking at him. We need to make sure we get our guy there. So guys that are still on the board that were forecasted to go: Kasparis Giannakis and Carter Bryant. Essengay obviously just went. Derek Queen is about to go. Let me pull up the best available currently. Carter Bryant is about to come off the board. It is Kasparis, number 1, Carter, number 2, Johan Berenger, 3, Thomas Sorber, 4, Liam McNeely, 6, Jace Richardson 7, although I don't think he goes any earlier than 20. I could be wrong. Asa Newell, Neat Clifford, Hugo Gonzalez. So the Hawks are going back 10 spots from 13 to 23, and the unprotected first-round pick. It is the best of New Orleans and Milwaukee. That is obviously one of the assets in the, because we're Drew Holiday-centric here, one of the picks from the Drew Holiday trade. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I can tell you right now, the Blazers didn't take an undersized guard at 11. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all day. All right. This is probably worth bringing up. As I mentioned at the start of the show, the remaining players that the Portland Trailblazers brought in for pre-draft workouts that are still on the board. Carter Bryant, Kasparas Yakashionis. Queen is expected to go here, so let's take him off. Liam McNeely, Asa Newell, Will Riley, Rasheer Fleming, Jace Richardson, Noah Penda. Those are your projected first-round picks that the Blazers had in for workouts. Wow. Derek Queen, officially the pick for the Atlanta Hawks, but he is being traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. It was long rumored that if the Pelicans didn't get him at 7, he was going to slide until another team came along. And I don't think it's a surprise that with two teams on the board in San Antonio and OKC, that the Pelicans move in front of them to take Derek Queen, just in case either of those teams were looking at him as a potential big to bring in. Because if you've got Victor Wembanyama, you can play Derek Queen alongside him. It works. If you got Chet Holmgren, you can play Derek Queen alongside those. Like, there's 3 guys in the NBA you can play him alongside and be like, that's fine. Pelicans, all right. I'm listening to Kendrick Perkins talk about Derek Queen's high motor, and that's not something that I've heard in the intel. But hey, that's neither here nor there. I think Derek Queen's going to be a good player. I do wonder about the fit. I will tell you, that's a thick team. Zion Williamson, Derek Queen, whoo, buddy. Some big old boys. Big old boys. All right. Sorry, I'm moving some things around so I can see a lot of things going here. Spurs need a point guard. No, I don't think the Spurs need a point guard. They got a lot of them. Steph Castle thinks he's a point guard. He's more of just a basketball player. De'Aaron Fox, point guard. Dylan Harper, point guard. Vasily Misic is also a part of the Mark Williams trade. He will be going back to Charlotte as part of the Mark Williams trade between the Suns and the Hornets. The pick is in. Boo-doo-boo-boo-doo-boo. Okay. By Marks just included the Vasily Misic traded Phoenix, and he was traded to Phoenix as part of the original deal. Let's see which way this goes. See which way it goes. There we go. Spurs are on the board, and the pick is Carter Bryant off the board to the San Antonio Spurs. They went best player available. Now what happens here? Do the Spurs go big? Do they go with Behringer? Do they trade out? The way the board has fallen is, I would say, pretty advantageous to anybody who wants to trade out, anybody who wants to trade up for their guy. So of the three that were there, Essengay, gone. Carter Bryant, gone. Yakashionis on the board with one pick before the Blazers pick at 16. I think Carter's going to be a hell of a player. I think this probably means Keldon Johnson is not long for San Antonio. It would be interesting if somehow Kasparis or another player the Blazers want at 16 goes at 15. Do the Blazers trade back again? It's gonna be interesting. Ooh, buddy. Here we go. All right. Carter Bryant, projected to go 10th overall by ESPN to the Phoenix Suns, goes at number 14 to the San Antonio Spurs. And if you want a guy to just fit in between Wemby and Fox and Harper and everybody else, there you go. There you go. Yeah, guys, there's dead air because I'm on my phone because I'm looking down doing things at the same time, and I've been on air for 2 hours after being on air for 3 hours after being on the phone the entire morning. Sorry. That's how it goes. This is the live stuff. I'm not doing it on location. I'm not doing it with anybody. There's going to be seconds. There's going to be times when I'm looking down at my phone and trading text messages back and forth. So, sorry, but that's the live version of this when you're 2 hours in. All right. As it pertains to Oklahoma City, all of the talk has been about them wanting to get a big. It is either the best smokescreen they've ever had, or they're looking at one of Sorber or Behringer. The name that I have heard the most is Sorber. Gives him a level of physicality. Gives him a big to play in the Western Conference that is a no BS big man. He's not going to get pushed around. He came into the combine, I believe, at 6'10", 260. He is a big old boy, and he has a 7'6" wingspan. If you were the Thunder, that's the way. If I were the Thunder, that's the way that I would go. If you look at their cap sheet, Isaiah Hartenstein's a really good role player, but he's a value added guy that at his price won't be nearly as value additive when other contracts start kicking in. When those other contracts start kicking in, it's going to be a tight squeeze. And Hartenstein's probably going to be the first guy that feels that squeeze. If you can get Sorber in place for the next couple of years and get him ready to go, you kind of kick the can and you got a guy, a starting level big on a rookie scale contract. Somebody asked, could the Blazers take Neek? They could. They didn't have him in for a workout. It would break a trend. They've taken every pick they've had with Mike and Joe. They've taken somebody that they've worked out. But according to ESPN, the pick is in for Oklahoma City while they're in the commercial break. Their best available: Kasparis, Behringer, Sorber, McNeely, Richardson, Newell, Neek Clifford, Gonzalez, Nolan Traore, and Will Riley. Yeah, I don't. I'm just humming random stuff because I'm antsy right now. Ooh, man. Let's see. Trying to keep up with some of your comments here. What about Will Riley? I am not a Will Riley believer. I see the upside in him. He's a long, rangy dude with upside. I think that's a bigger risk without a bigger payout. But that's my belief. That's my belief. Is Kasparis a good fit? I think he is. I'm biased in the sense of I really like Kasparis' game, independent of the Blazers in general. Hey, Thomas Sorber. Doing okay at this. Kasparis Yakashionis is on the board. I would like to see them take Kasparis. I'd like to see it happen. Don't hurt me, boys. Don't hurt me. I will be disappointed if they don't take Kasparis. But I'm very interested to see which way they go. If they don't take Kasparis and they trade back and they get even more assets, I'd be like, I get it. I get it. If they do take Kasparis here, I think they read the board and they read the room and they knew there was a very strong likelihood, unless teams traded out and traded up, that he would likely be there. Let's. You know what? I'm going to keep this poll open just for a little bit longer until we see what happens at pick 16. All right. Oh, come on. Quit stalling. I'm nervous. I'm edgy. Let's go. No, seeing these young men cry and show real emotional. All right, the pick is in. Which way does it go? Which way does it go? You know what? I actually am going to close the poll, and I'm going to do another poll. 87% of you like the trade. 87% of you like the trade. Let's see if you still like the trade if the Blazers do indeed make the pick here. Hanson Yang to Portland at pick 16. What? Holy shit. If you're going to take him, why not trade back? I mean, they've got something in the hopper trades-wise. They've got too many bigs now. I am stunned. Well, I'll have questions at the press conference tonight. He was mocked at the beginning of the second round. He did come in for a workout, so he ticks that box. On my average draft position ranking, Hanson Yang ranked 36th. Well, more moves have to be coming. They have too many bigs. By a lot. Holy crap. All right, let's put the poll up now. Let's go. I have questions because his offensive upside is certainly there. He's got great touch. Defensively, boy. I have a feeling that poll's going to go well. I'm going to go ahead and start. No, I can't only do one at a time. Never mind. I'm an idiot. All right. So I am going to pull up data on Hanson Yang. International. Played for Qingdao. Big man. (7'2", 250-pound big man, 19 years old. Will turn 20 tomorrow. Showed out at the Combine. The Blazers are now big as hell. The Blazers don't have 4 centers, they have 5. Ayton, Klingon, Rob, Hanson, Wop. There's liking your guy and there's liking your guy. This is absolutely crazy. Johan Behringer on the board for Seattle. For Minnesota. God, somebody just texted me about something Seattle. Sorry. That is... That's a stunner. This is an overcorrection from oops all guards to oops all centers. Shout out Richmond. Holy crap. Holy crap. Well, I would expect there to be a pretty sizable trade here very soon. Hi, sweetheart. Are you confused about this pick too? So am I. So am I. Come here. You want to stay off camera? Okay. Johan Behringer, the best shot blocker in the draft, goes to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Nobody had Kasparis falling like this. Yeah, I mean, the Blazers just went full monster universe. They've got Kling Kong and Yangzilla. I mean, as it pertains to Portland, it's there's got to be more moves. It's just that simple. I mean, I've been adamant that I like what the Blazers are doing because they've gotten bigger, stronger, longer, more athletic. There's nobody bigger in the NBA right now than the Blazers. Holy crap. This is, I mean, this is an overcorrection of overcorrections. That is for certain. And again, thank you all for being here. I'm processing this in real time as much as you guys. I'm texting, trying to get as much information as I can right now. But yeah, this is the kind of move that catches the entire NBA off balance. The Chinese market does not help the ledger on the sale. They're not making that pick with, if you're making a pick with new ownership in mind and potential jersey sales in China, I don't think that's the likely outcome of this. He's not a Chinese Chet Holmgren. They call him the Chinese Jokic. I mean, they took a guy that came in through workouts. Jake Fisher literally just tweeted. A Nugget source just texted me Chinese Jokic about the Blazers surprise selection. Literally just said that. I don't know, man. Is that... Look, Yang certainly has his supporters and the detractors. It was like, what about his foot speed? What about his foot speed? What about his processing? What about his defense? To be fair, those were the same criticisms of Nikola Jokic. If he is, I'm not even going to say anywhere near Jokic because that's not fair. But if you think that if he came in and his work, and that's the thing is they did a great job saying his workout, keeping his workout quiet. It's like, I heard he was good. I didn't hear that he put on that kind of a show. Shams, Washington is trading Walter Clayton Jr. at number 18 to Utah. Holy crap. Well, the Patreon article is going to be very interesting after I do this. They must have had some intel that some team wanted him. That's the only thing that I can think of for them making that pick there. And don't get me wrong, If your guy is there, go. All right. Just close the poll up here. 24% of you like the pick. Interesting. Interesting. Utah sent the 21st pick and some second-round picks to Washington for Walter Clayton Jr. to move up to 18. Moving up 3 picks only costs 2 second-round picks. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's for sure. There we go. Picks number 21, 43, and 2 future round picks. Or 2 future second-round picks. And that'll be for Walter Clayton Jr. out of Florida. This pick has, in my opinion, the chance to be one of 2 polls. I don't think this is an in-between thing. Where everyone... This is a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type pick where it's like, remember Buffalo booing Josh Allen getting picked. Or everyone loving a pick and it going absolutely sideways. Oh, look at Walter Clayton Jr. crying. You, sir, are a Utah Jazz. So the Jazz get Walter Clayton Jr., and Ace Bailey. That's higher than I think anybody had Clayton going. That's for sure. This is nothing like that. I think it very much is that. Where it's either going to be a boom or a bust. It's one or the other. I don't think he's a player that's ultimately just fine. I think he's a player, he's like, yeah, he's really good in the end, or he's not that guy. And the reaction will be just stark one way or the other. All right. Pull up his cumulative box score in the Chinese Basketball Association. Go down this real quick. Shot 61% from the field. 64.5% true shooting percentage. Pull all this up here real quick. Shot 28% from 3. 14 of 36, small volume. Shot 67% from the free throw line, so decent free throw shooter. So right around 70%. Oh, they don't have his other data in there. So I'm going to pull up his play type data. He was in the 95th percentile in China in post-ups. Ranked in the 74th percentile in points per possession. His number 2 is as a cutter, and number 3 is as a roll man. That's interesting. Finished in the 72nd percentile overall in usage and cuts, 72nd percentile in points per possession. A little below average in usage as pick and roll man, slightly below average in points per possession at 48%. And in limited transition opportunities was in the 77th percentile. In transition and very limited opportunities in isolation, 87th percentile. Yes, I am aware that he's playing in China because I'm reading the numbers, as I just said, from the Chinese Basketball Association. It's where he stands amongst his contemporaries. Don't be mad at me. Take your projection bullshit somewhere else. I'm just reading off the stats, man. Getting an idea for the volume. Look, I didn't do the deep dive into Hansen because there was no indication they were going this way. So, getting a better understanding of what his role was and where they utilized him, that's kind of what I thought. There's way too much, just for jersey sales. That's whatever. It is. Okay, no, okay. That's not about this. This is just straight up basketball stuff. And I'm already trying to formulate the questions I have in my head for that media availability. Because if they get out of draft night with this many. All right, well, I might have some information that I can share about Hansen here in a minute. So I'll wait for. And we have one promise that is going to hold true. Jake Fisher just pointed out that, or just highlighted or tweeted out, excuse me, God, I'm dumb, that the Nets are going to take Nolan Traore. Give me a second here. I got to do a little bit of work. So you guys get to listen to me type, and I'll put it in there as soon as I'm done writing it up. I'm sorry. Am I not giving you enough attention? I'm a little busy here, guys. Give me a second. I'll put you back outside. Let's see. Hold on, guys. I will share this with you guys here in 2 seconds. This is the thing when you see the guy looking down when he's on TV trying to text or tweet at the same time he's on TV. This is the Temu version of that. Yeah, let's knock it off. All right. Let's start putting all this together. All right. I'll put this in the chat and then read through it. God, can I put anything in my own chat right now? Is that weird? There we go. There's the link to the tweet. And I will read you what I just wrote. League sources on Hansen Yang. The Blazers have been watching him for over 2 years. They believe he possesses a super high basketball IQ and incredible ability to execute passes and helps everyone on the floor play better. Great passer for his size, incredible vision, and good touch around the rim and great shot blocker. There were concerns other teams in his range were going to take him. The Blazers didn't take him at 16, and the Blazers loved him. So, that is the full-on, they love their guy. They love their guy. They thought somebody else was going to take him. With Brooklyn sitting right there with a metric crap ton of picks, that was a fear. All right. Give me 2 seconds again while I put the dogs outside because the wife isn't here. Here, look, I'll even give you guys one of these. That's the old one. Come on. There we go. Sorry, I had the old one. Now the question becomes, where do they go from here? Where do they go from here? Interesting. So, for those wondering, yeah, more Sprague. Sprague is going to hop on probably next week, maybe a little sooner after this. Radio's going to be fun tomorrow, especially after the. Yakashionis to Miami. I don't want them getting nice things. Gross. Well, he fell a lot further than anticipated. Kasparis, the biggest slider so far. So. Now I'm debating whether or not I go to the practice facility now. Or what? I guess I should probably send that text and see what timing is looking like. Okay. So at the conclusion of the first round, I love how much Danny and Miami hate each other. Yeah. At the conclusion of the first round, there will be press availability. to get there and see if I can find out anything else. If am I going to live stream from the practice facility? I actually cannot. So without express written consent from the Trailblazers to do that, unless you were a TV or radio partner, that is something that is not allowed by the NBA and or the Trailblazers. So I will, as soon as I am done there, I don't want to commit to this because I don't know what time it is. I will very likely do another show tonight when I have more, or at least, if not more answers, more clarity on things. Good, bad, or otherwise. That's at least the plan as it stands right now. Like, you guys saw it in real time. I am texting and trying to get information and figure things out as fast as I can. So, I mean, if you guys remember when the Portland Trailblazers drafted Scoot Henderson, I was the guy that said, how do you plan to play the guards that you have on your roster with Dame, Ant, Scoot, and Shaden when there's 96 combined minutes available for those two? So there will likely be some version of that same question because they have 5 centers on their roster. And obviously they can't come out and say, we're going to trade player X unless they trade player X, of which they probably won't say that anyways because it probably won't be official until July 6th. But I would imagine that there are pokers in the fire, as it were, as it pertains to potential options. So we'll see where that part of it goes. Actually, you know what I'm going to wrap up the stream here so that I can do a little bit more and then circle back. So if there's questions you want asked, I'm not saying I will. I'm not saying I'll read all of them. But if there's legitimate questions you want to ask, you can tweet them at me. I already have a lot in my head that I want to go through. But I'll take a look and then go from there. This hat didn't curse you. Don't say that. Don't say that. It's my hat. But yeah, I'm going to try and get more clarity and figure some things out and see where things go from here. Certainly there are going to be questions. So, is the media availability live streamed? I believe that it has been in the past every time. I think the Blazers have carried it every time, and I think a couple TV stations, all the local news will be there as well. So I'm going to drop the hat before I go into the practice facility. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate you. It's 2 hours and almost 45 minutes in. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Help us continue to grow the channel. If I don't do a pod tonight, I will at least write on it tonight, and then I will dive in it on the radio, and we will do a pod tomorrow. It all depends on timing and availability. And then kind of go from there. So, you guys have a great, great night. Try not to melt down. It is day 1 of 2 days of the NBA draft and a week before free agency. Let's see kind of where things go from there. So, you guys have a great night. I will circle back if it's early enough. If it's not, we will revisit it tomorrow when I got more answers. So, take care. Talk soon. Have a good night. Try to breathe. And